Writing equations of lines parallel and perpendicular to a given line through a point. Consider the line y equals 5x minus 4. Let's just talk about part A first. Find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to this line and passes through the point -4 and -6. Now, we know something special about parallel and perpendicular lines, and it has to do with the slope. So if we're considering this line here, we need to know the slope of this line. We see that it's in y equals mx plus b format, so my slope here, the number in front of the x, is 5. So the line that I'm comparing with, I want a line that's perpendicular to this one. Okay, so we know that the slope of a perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. Now, just to be sure we're all on the same page, opposite means sine y. So one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Reciprocal means flipped over the fraction bar. Okay, so we're going to have opposite of the 5, so it's going to be negative because 5 is positive, so this slope is going to be a negative, and we're going to flip it over the fraction bar. So we need to think about this 5 as a fraction, so I'm going to put a 1 underneath. So really that 5 is 5 over 1, which means when I flip it, it's going to be 1/5. Oh, sorry about that, Belle. So here we have m equals -1/5. But that's not all I need for this. I also need to find the y-intercept. Okay? So what I'm going to do, there's two different ways to do this. For the first one, I'm going to go ahead and use the y equals mx plus b format. Okay? So I have a point that's x and y, and I have a slope. So I'm going to fill in what I know. So y in this case is -6 equals, and my slope is -1/5. My x that they give me is -4, and my b is what I'm trying to solve for, because I have my m, and I'm looking for my b so I can put it into this equation. Okay, so let's simplify. -6 equals, now -1/5 times -4 is +4/5 plus b. So to get b alone, I'm going to subtract 4/5, subtract 4/5. Now, 4/5. Now, you could do this in your head or on scratch paper, and that's fine, but remember, you can also do it on a calculator. I'll remind you how. You do -6 minus, and then just put 4/5 in parentheses like that. Okay? And it's going to give you a decimal. In order to keep that in a fraction, because we do like fractions more, we're going to hit math, and then enter because the fraction is already highlighted, and enter one more time. So that's -34/5. So b is -34/5. So now I have a slope and an intercept that match this line they describe. So I just put it into slope-intercept form. So y equals m, which is -1/5 x, plus b, which is -34/5. So that's a little bit ugly of a fraction there at the end, but we can trust it because we solved over here. Now, that's part A. We've done part A. Let's consider part B then. Find the equation of a line that is parallel to this original line and passes through the same point. So, when they're perpendicular lines, they're opposite reciprocal, and when they're parallel lines, they just have the same slope. Okay? So, if the slope in this one was 5, the slope in this one is also going to be 5. So there it is. We don't even have to work. That's awesome. Now, I'm going to show you, we could do this same process that we did with the first one, except with this point and this slope. But I'm going to show you, so this was slope-intercept form. Let me label these here. And there's another way to do it called point-slope form. Either one is okay. If you like one more than the other, that's fine. Just stick with what you like. I'm going to show you both those so you know your options. So point slope is like this. This is the formula for point slope. Okay, it's on your notes. So we're just going to plug in what we know. Now we have an x and a y, but I want to plug it in for y1, not y. I want to plug it in for y1. So I'm going to put y minus a -6. My slope is 5, and x minus a -4. Now, we know when I subtract a negative, it becomes positive, and I subtract a negative, it becomes positive. So I have y plus 6, and I'm going to distribute this 5. So I have 5x plus 20. So I need to get the y by itself to get it back into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract the 6. So I get y equals 5x plus 14. So the slope of the line parallel to this one that goes through the point is y equals 5x plus 14. So these are my two final answers. I did it two different ways, okay? And we just have to remember the rules about the slopes for parallel and perpendicular lines.